Alright, Hungaroring. It's a pretty difficult track actually. To put quite a few laps in to kind of get a feel for it. But let's take a look at the lap. So braking for turn one, down to second gear, is kind of the 150 board. There isn't actually a board, but halfway between two. Down to second gear, and kind of turn in late. And then there's an off-track out here, but it's pretty easy to stay on the track there, so it's not really an issue. Then braking just before the 100, or sort of under the bridge. Similar kind of corner. Feels like it goes on a bit longer, so it's a late apex. And then picking up the throttle. Then the next second gear again. The next corner coming up is quite important to carry some exit speed, so compromise your exit here to stay on the left for that. I think I'm leaving it in third there. Pretty sure. Yep, third gear through there. The off track here is really easy to get. Generally, if you keep your right side tyres on the red and white curb, you're okay. And then this is probably the hardest corner on the track, so we're braking slightly for the 100, back down to third, and then clipping this apex. You can't take too much of it or it's an off track. Probably, I would say, centre line on the inside edge of the curb. So if you go beyond that, it's an off track. And then it's running wide here is a real issue. So if you run too wide, it's a slowdown. I think again it's the centre line to the outside edge of the curb. But you also need to, because you're full throttle here, if you bounce over these curbs too much, you can end up in the wall on the left. So that's something to be careful of. And then obviously you want to get the car back over to the left as much as you can. And then very similar to turn one and turn two, it's another sort of second gear, light trail braking. Just try and hug the apex and then pick up the throttle. You can run right out to the edge of this curb. I don't think there's an off track. I don't know if that's gravel. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But I didn't really go too wide there. I'm not sure if that's an off track or not. And then braking for the chicane is sort of the 100, or just after the 100, somewhere between the 100 and the start of the curb. But I would say the start of the curb is too late. Then cut the first apex, cut the second one as close to the little anti-cut as you can, and then use all the exit. That's second gear as well through the chicane. So it's pretty much second and third gear for almost every turn at this track. Down to second here. Second, and then up to third. No need to brake for this corner. So let's go back. I didn't really follow these properly. So trailing in, and then same thing as always in these kind of blowing left-right kind of situations. Don't run the car too wide. Stay kind of in the middle. And then same here, you can run a little bit wider because you've got a little bit more time to get back over. But the most important thing is that you do get back over. So you don't want to be kind of still forcing the car right as you're turning in, because you're just making the corner, essentially making the corner tighter than it really is. So third, up to third here, and we leave it in third, no need to brake, just a fifth. And then trailing up to the apex, still in third gear. And then here you can, as long as you keep, I think this one's a little bit more lenient, so I think it may be the outside edge of the second piece of curbing. I was generally trying to keep my left side tyres on that curb, just to be sure that I wasn't going to get an off track. And as far as I can tell, there's no off track for, you don't have to make sure you're back on the track before the end of the curb, as far as I could tell from my testing. So then coming into the final section now, we'll brake on the 100 down to second, cut that apex right to the grass, and then center line of the car, I assume it's the start of the border here between the AstroTurf and the concrete. Back out to the other side of the track. You don't need to compromise your exit on this corner because there's enough time to get back over. And back down to second again. Almost sort of overshoot the brake in here, kind of. So you go in really late on the brakes, and then pick up a late apex. Stay in second. I actually used third briefly there, but I was most of my laps I was just banging it off the limiter in second. I don't think there's a lot of time difference. And then again, you kind of brake too late, overshoot, and then cut back to square off the exit. And then here again, I would say probably the center line is the center line to the outside edge of the curb. This corner and was it 4 and 5 section, the fast uphill left. That's where I was getting the majority of 1X's. Yeah, hopefully there's something useful in this guide. I mean, it's a new track for everybody, so the key thing is getting comfortable with the off tracks and where the track limits are. And braking is seems to be a big deal here. So it was pretty critical to get the brakes to feel comfortable when I was trying to knock together some kind of setup. But alright, that'll do for the lap guide this week.